Hi, so today we're here with Bex from our marketing team, and Bex is also our Costa Rica expert, which is very helpful because today we're going to dive into our Costa Rica Walks and Wildlife trip.
Yes.
So, welcome, Bex.
Thank you.
Could you please start off by telling us why Costa Rica is so special? Big question.
Too many reasons. I think what makes it so special is obviously it's undoubtedly beautiful, so beautiful. But I think what makes it so special is the way that it's cared for and the way it's respected by everyone that visits there, but also the locals. Nature and the landscapes is just so well cared for. It's just makes it so special.
What were your first impressions when you arrived?
I think my first impressions were more of like the people, like just such a warm welcome from everyone. Like they're genuinely so happy to have visitors there and share their amazing country. And I think that was just really refreshing. So I think that was my instant first sort of impression after, landing with a bit of jet lag.
I know, I love that. I feel like it proper builds to the excitement of the whole adventure.
Exactly, because that's your first thing. And then, you get into seeing all the amazing wildlife and things after that. So.
And then with this being the walks and wildlife adventure, what is the balance like between those two things?
Yeah, it's such a varied trip. I would say the focus is on the wildlife. I mean, there's so much wildlife, so rightly so. And I would say there's a few sort of bigger walks throughout the trip that, although they're longer walks, they're for the purpose of seeing wildlife.
Yeah.
So you're not just sort of head down trekking, you are stopping all the time, looking into the trees, seeing what's around. So there's always a focus on the wildlife. And then some of the days where you don't have a big walk, you'll be visiting other places to see other wildlife. So I'd say the wildlife is the main focus with some lovely walks thrown in there as well.
Like the activities are in the goal of seeing the wildlife.
Yeah, exactly that.
And then what kind of wildlife did you see when you were out there?
So much. A lot of bird life, and so many different species. A couple of people in our group had like the bird listening app, which was so clever. So even if we didn't see them necessarily, we could hear them and we could identify what they were. But we saw so much. I mean, sloths, of course, was very exciting. So much in the Corcovado National Park. We saw dolphins. We saw a little fin of a whale, which was incredible. We went snorkelling and we saw lots of fish and turtles. So much wildlife.
Yeah,
it's hard to pick. Lots of monkeys. We managed to see all 4 types of monkeys. So there's 4 types of monkeys in Costa Rica, and we managed to see all 4. So that was really special as well.
Oh, you probably ticked them off then.
Yes, exactly.
How close do you get to like the animals? Obviously within like a respectable distance then, but do you feel like you got quite close to them?
It's so immersive. It's so immersive. Exactly that. Always a respectable distance, because all of our encounters were totally just in the wild, raw experiences. But quite amazing at Corcovado National Park. I mean, there was peccaries just running around, just sort of, really quite close, really quite surreal. The sloths are always quite far in the trees, but you can always pick them out. And that's what binoculars are great for as well, I suppose. I would say a nice distance where it was really immersive, but it was respectful.
Yeah, because obviously you don't want to disturb the wildlife.
Exactly.
Do you have like a particular sighting that was your favourite?
I think seeing that sloth on day 1 was just incredible, because it was so sort of surreal that we've just arrived in Costa Rica and we've seen this sloth.
So
amazing.
Soon,
I think it was like our first trip out. But a surprising one for me was seeing an anteater.
Nice.
That was kind of unexpected, and I think it was on one of our last days, and that was really special because it was just looked so cuddly and lovely.
I feel like there's something that was very prominent in like children books.
So
like to actually see one would be so cool.
And they're quite a surreal animal. Like they've got a really long nose and a long tail and things. So to actually see one was really cool.
So with the nature of this being a guided trip, did you think having a guide was really helpful in finding the wildlife? Do you think you could have like found it as easily on your own?
Absolutely not. I probably would have seen about one bird on my own.
Yeah.
No, their eye is just absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously sloths are really difficult to find because they're really camouflaged, as are a lot of the animals. And even the monkeys and things can be quite tucked away. But even like the really colourful birds and things like that, we're just not used to looking out for things like that. So we do not have the eye for it. So quite amazing. Both our guide and our driver were just absolutely awesome at pointing things out. And if we'd be on a drive somewhere and they'd find something, we'd pull to the side and we'd get out and look. And also in Corcovado, you get like a specific park guide. So they know the park like the back of their hands. So they're so key. So there was one moment where he knew that there was a snake sort of hiding in a little foresty bit. So we were able to see it through the telescope and things, which you would never have found on your own. Absolutely.
I suppose that's quite nice because it might be like, because obviously I imagine you went quite excited about sloths, but maybe you would like see some animals that you might not know anything about, and then they can tell you about them.
Absolutely, their knowledge is incredible, so vast. Yeah,
so you get all that as well.
Yeah.
And then stepping aside from wildlife, what is the scenery like in Costa Rica? Like, is it how diverse is it? What did you all?
It's so diverse. So one thing I didn't really know about Costa Rica before I went was you just obviously hear about the rainforest a lot, but it's got cloud forest and dry forest as well, and you actually experience all of them on this trip. So that's incredible. So they're so varied. So you get to experience all of that, but you also get to trek on the slopes of the volcano as well, which is incredible. And so that's so different. And then you also are by the coast and all the beaches as well. So there's so much variation of what you get to see. So
they all contrast quite severely.
Yeah, they really do.
Cool.
You cover so much distance, almost all of the Pacific side, and you get to pack in loads of different landscapes.
Yeah. I know you said that with the walking it is more with the goal of seeing wildlife, but is it quite difficult or is it very relaxed? What kind of terrain are you covering?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I think it has the grading that it has because there's some days where you're not walking, but there's some days where you are doing the walks, which is why it's sort of that grade, that middle grade. I would say the days when you're doing the bigger walks, they do have an element of toughness to them. They're generally on sort of, either the slopes of the volcano, so it can be a little bit slippy underfoot, or you're trekking through the forest is the main thing. So that you can have like some tree roots and rocks and things under your foot. So you just do want to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
I think the tough element, though, of the walks is from the heat and the humidity. Yeah. And obviously that varies throughout the year depending on what time you go. But that certainly, of course, adds an element of toughness. But yeah, like I say, you're always stopping to look at animals. So there's always little breaks. Yeah. But there's a nice mixture of toughness and of terrain.
Nice. And then what other activities did you do alongside walking? So I know you mentioned you went snorkeling.
Yes, snorkeling was definitely one of the really exciting extra activities. But you do a lot because you're traveling around a lot. So on one of our first days, we went to this really nice organic farm, and we learned so much. We had a tour around, and we learned so much about all this sustainable production that they do, which was just so insightful. And we went to an animal sanctuary, which was incredible. They do amazing work rehabilitating animals from fires or car accidents and things like that. You don't actually see the animals that will be able to get released into the wild, which I think is really nice. They're just kept totally separate. Yeah. It's only the ones that unfortunately won't be able to be released that you can see and you can donate and things. It's really, really quite incredible. Other activities we did, you also do quite a few boat trips, which was really nice. So there's a longer boat trip that you take in order to stay when you go down to the Osa Peninsula, and you're traveling all through the mangroves, and it's really exciting. And then you also go on a couple of boat trips just to get to and from, like the Corcovado National Park and to the snorkelling, which were really nice. That's when we saw the dolphins, so that was really awesome. Quetzal spotting, that was a real highlight. That really was. We went to like this little fruit farm, and they had a little shelter for us, and we just stayed and waited for the resplendent Quetzal, and
you got to see one?
We did. We actually got to see two. We got to see male and female, which is class. So that was really special. That was a very calm little nice morning, and really special to see that. And again, we had a specific Quetzal guide to help us spot them. But I do think also staying in the eco lodges itself is like an activity, because it's just such an experience, and you get to see how they work with all sustainable energy and things. It's really amazing.
Do you feel like there was, because that's a lot of stuff you just covered,
yes,
do you feel like there was a good mix of the adventure and some downtime?
Definitely. Absolutely. You generally sort of go out early-ish in the morning, and then have a bit of downtime in the afternoon, and then you would always go out for some dinner or dinner in the lodge or wherever in the evening. But yeah, a few of the lodges had like outdoor swimming pools that we would go swimming in, or when we were staying in the peninsula, we were right by the ocean, so we went swimming in the afternoon. So yeah, a nice amount of downtime still, so to recharge.
Yeah, I think it's important so you can really enjoy the next day as well.
Exactly.
And then you've said that you stayed in eco lodges, and some of the accommodations had swimming pools.
Yes.
Were they all sort of like this? Or
there was a real mixture.
Yeah.
So generally in lodge type places where you're in like your own little cabin, but a right mixture of just sort of a regular lodge or an eco lodge where they're doing everything completely sustainably. And yeah, really, really nice mix. And I would say as well, a mix throughout the trip. So one night in an eco lodge and then move to a different type of lodge. But yeah, they were all fab in their own way. Obviously the eco lodges were more basic, but it was such an incredible experience just to be completely immersed and surrounded by nature.
Yeah, 'cause they're a bit more remote in it, aren't they?
Exactly. I think everyone that we went to still managed to have Wi-Fi of some description, which was quite incredible.
Yeah.
But, you know, not necessarily exactly high speed or anything like that. But I think it did have connectivity all the way. But just sort of, just really nice to be immersed and to sit having dinner, just surrounded by rainforest noises. No sort of light pollution around you, just having dinner by candlelight, just incredible.
Yeah, that's not your average day-to-day dinner time experience.
Yeah, really lovely.
And then talking about dinner, what was the food like in Costa Rica?
The food was great. It's simple, but it was really, really great. I really enjoyed it because it's such whole foods. Everything's almost everything's grown nearby, and it's generally, they have a dish called casado, and that is like a protein, some salad, plantain, the infamous black beans and rice.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. I loved it. Just really healthy, whole foods. So we had that quite a lot. I never tired of it at all. I tried to make it at home, but it wasn't as good. But yeah, I thought the food was really enjoyable.
Yeah, it sounds like I probably eat healthier over there than I would here.
Exactly, so much healthier. I mean, and all the fruits and vegetables are just so fresh and lovely.
Yeah.
And we stayed at one place and we had like avocados for breakfast, and they were just literally grown from like the garden. It was
they'd be like the tastiest avocado you've ever had.
Literally, so good.
And then who would you recommend this trip for?
I think this trip is honestly suitable for any kind of adventurer. Within our group, we had some real wildlife enthusiasts, but we had people that just wanted to experience Costa Rica. Such a wide variety, some real keen walkers, some less so. It takes a lot of boxes because you do so many different things. It takes a lot of boxes, and it's such a great way to see so much of the country. There's so much to see in Costa Rica, and trying to plan that all yourself and things, you would just never get around the same amount you were able to. So it does take a lot of boxes for, whether it's your first sort of guided adventure or whether you've done hundreds of them, whether you've never been on a walking holiday before or you have. We had a mix of everyone in our group and everyone loved it. So I think
that makes the group really nice because you're getting such a variety of people with different experiences. So
exactly, and it means people bring all different things to the group as well, and the guide is then so great at being like, okay, you're really wanting to see lots of birds, we'll make sure that you do, but you're really keen for the snorkeling, and it just means that everyone gets the best out of it, which is fab.
Love that. And then you've got the first-hand experience of Costa Rica, so I want to get some tips from you. From your experience of going. So what is one thing that you packed that people might not think to pack, or one thing that you didn't pack that you wish you'd taken? So
I think the one thing that stands out for me is I thought my waterproof was quite thin. It's thin for living in Cumbria. It's a summer waterproof for Cumbria. But yeah, we went at quite a humid time, and if it is raining and you've got your waterproof on, you just want it to be as thin as possible. You want it to be a good quality waterproof because it does rain. But yeah, just for it to be as light as possible.
Yeah, was it just too warm for you wearing even what you thought was a light one?
Exactly. So as light as possible, definitely. I also think walking poles are really recommended, although like I say, the walks aren't overly tough. You are sort of walking through the roots, the forest roots and things, but also because we had a few wet days, it just meant you had a bit more security and balance
Yeah,
when
'cause
you're
I imagine
walking.
it's quite slippy.
Yeah, exactly. So I would definitely recommend taking them.
Nice. And then, do you have any advice for getting the most out of the wildlife experiences, since so many people will be that's the reason they want to go?
Yeah, just, oh my goodness, just embrace it and keep your
Yeah.
eyes peeled. Take binoculars, definitely. I mean, our guide was incredible. He had binoculars, he had a telescope, he had amazing cameras, he had so much kit with him that we could borrow. But yeah, do take binoculars. Lots of storage on your phone, so you can take lots of photos. And yeah, just be excited because you're going to see so much. I saw so much that I wasn't expecting to see. I wouldn't necessarily say I was a massive wildlife enthusiast, and I was quite overwhelmed sometimes when I saw things. Like, I didn't expect to get emotional at seeing some of these animals. But yeah, they're just so amazing.
Came away being a wildlife enthusiast.
100% I did.
And then lastly, what's the one thing that you wish you knew before going?
I think it's important to go with the mindset that your itinerary might change. The weather has a mind of its own in Costa Rica. You know, the forecast will be saying one thing and it can do another, or it can be one thing in the morning and change in the afternoon. And you've just got to trust your guide that they know it like the back of their hands. They know what's safe, they know what's not safe, they know what's a good idea in the weather, what's a bad idea. And so you will get through everything on the itinerary, but it might just change a little bit. So just to go open-minded, totally trust your guide and just embrace it and enjoy the changes. You know, there was one morning we were meant to be going out on a walk in the morning, but we ended up just sort of staying in our lodge, doing a bit of bird watching, drinking coffee, and then we did our walk later in the afternoon. And that morning was, you know, turned out to be one of the highlights.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. So yeah, just embrace the changes that will come naturally.
Nice. Well, thank you for taking the time to answer my questions today.
Thank you. It's nice to talk about it again.
Yeah, it's been a couple of months, so it's nice for you to get to relive it again. And if you guys have any questions, you can leave them down below, and I'm sure Bex will get back to you. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.